Меня зовут Замира, и я работаю в акселераторе ФРИИ с иностранными экспертами. До того, как мы начнем нашу официальную часть, хочу сказать, что для вас сегодня доступен синхронный перевод, то есть внизу вы можете выбрать комфортный для вас язык, это английский или русский, и прослушать вебинар в комфортной обстановке. Также наши коллеги сейчас запостят в чате ссылки на Go Global Channel, на наш канал, где мы постим разные новости, и плюс ссылку на запись, на консультацию с экспертом. Okay, so let's get started. So good evening, everyone who has joined us today. My name is Amira, and I work with international experts at IIDF. And recently, we've been getting a lot of questions regarding different aspects of MENA region, and we asked our colleague Исламом Альбелбеси to run a webinar where we could cover most of those areas. And without further ado, I'm passing it on to our expert, Islam. The mic is yours.
Thanks, Amir, actually, for the introduction. Welcome, everyone, and looking forward to have actually a fruitful session today, so you know how to operate in MENA region. Just give me a moment. I'm going to share my screen. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Исламом Альбелбеси, and I'm actually working as a management consultant. My experience comes along with different exposure. So we can say I have covered different aspects of business. From management consulting point of view, we can say digital transformation in general. I come from a finance background, so I do work with financial assessment projects and so on. On the other hand, projects relate to strategy articulation, strategy formulation as well. And in terms of geography, I work among the MENA region. I've worked in different countries, mainly Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Morocco, and Bahrain as well. So let's start about today's agenda. Today, we're going to have our introduction. I will mention about myself, which I already mentioned part of it. And then we mention why this region is attractive for startups, why companies and why startups look forward to operate in MENA and open their business over there. And we'll have a glimpse on the market trends and how the market works as well, and what should be considered when you're entering the market, and as well, the steps to get your first client over there. We are all actually opening for profit and opening for doing business. So it's an important point that to know how to get your first client. On the other hand, we will see the go-to-market models, how you can operate over there, and what are the different models that help you operate in the region, as well the incorporation and the banking solutions among the region. After that, we are going to share one of our success stories, and we will clarify the services that through IIDF we can offer. And after that, all the attendees who will stay until the end of this webinar will be having a promo for attending this webinar. And after that, we'll mention the part of Q&As. You can ask all of your questions. So let's start. As I mentioned, I'm a management consultant. I have actually 14 years of experience. We can say now I've turned 15 years of experience in operations among the MENA region. 7 of them come in management consulting in the GCC. And when we say the GCC, so we're actually mentioning Saudi Arabia, Oman, Bahrain, these Arab states in Asia. I have 6 years of entrepreneurship and we can say startups advisory. Also, we can say the focus, or mainly the focus, was on tech startups, e-commerce as well. Mentorship, I have mentored more than 20 startups through IIDF with, I believe, more than 100 hours or more than 120 hours in mentorship sessions. I cover different industries like the FMCG, any professional services, real estate, investment as well. And as I mentioned before, the focus areas are in strategy, financial planning, financial budgeting, valuation and analysis, product development, project management as well. So enough about me. So let's speak about you and how you can operate in the region. So this is your first point of understanding how the Middle East works, how the definitely we all know MENA stands for Middle East North Africa. So from a geographical point of view, it starts from Morocco on the left in Africa, ending by the GCC countries on the right, where actually you find the Saudi or Emirates and Bahrain, passing by Egypt and Algeria and Tunisia in Africa. Why this region is important and why it would help you expand your business? Definitely, it is a high developing region. We can say now that especially the GCC have invested so much in the infrastructure and in the banking solutions to make a very lucrative and very important, or sorry, very tempting environment for startups and companies to establish or to operate over there. How does this affect you on your day-to-day operations? So if we compared a country with a smooth banking solution with another one that doesn't have a smooth banking solution or banking infrastructure, for example, accessibility, mobile banking, and placing transfers for international transfers, it makes a big difference. At the beginning, when you are doing the research, it may be a minor part, and you may not do care for such thing. But when you operate on a daily basis, when you operate on a monthly basis, you want to transfer to your home country, you want to make international transfers. This makes a difference. So the region have transformed their infrastructure in terms of business to support and help companies. On the other hand, we can clearly say that from an economical point of view and from a political point of view, first, relations with Russia in the GCC, it's well-established relation. Diplomatic relations are very good over there. And from an economic point of view as well, the countries are stable and developing, and a lot of potentials are found and existing, which help us to find a lot of opportunities to cover in the region. When we are saying this, we specify some countries, and we are going to go in details of those countries at a later stage. So over here as well, you can see that this kind of stability, either political or economical, create great potentials for cooperation between governments. And this kind of cooperation and this kind of diplomatic cooperation yield a lot of opportunities and businesses that could be found in the region, right, in terms of cooperation. At the same time, looking for a country like Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, there's a massive investment in technology. A lot of digital transformation projects are taking place over there, which also gives opportunity for startups and companies to make business and create business over there. For example, when the country decides or plans for digitizing the whole Ministry of Human Resources, this brings massive teams, massive companies, massive deals out of that to digitize the operations of Ministry of Human Resources. Okay, because we know that there are a lot of expats and we need to get this in order, and they have this kind of Saudization part that they need also to calculate how many Saudis are working. So going back to the main topic, that digital transformation took place, that gives us people who are working in technology a lot of opportunities and a lot of sales opportunities. And the most important part that we all suffer from, that we go with the whole sales cycle and after that, the client or the customer mentioned, sorry, we don't have the budget. Believe me, you're not going to face this point over there. There is actually a high purchasing power. Especially governments are supporting startups, are supporting companies, facilitating credits, facilitating guarantees, facilitating actually acceleration and incubation and funding. So this helps the economy or the wheel of the economy to turn and turn faster. So moving to the next slide. You can see over here, these are the market trends. Please have a look into these figures. You can see on the left how the Emirates is performing. The three important countries, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt as well. Okay. Definitely the rest of the GCC is performing well, like Oman and Qatar and Kuwait. Okay, sorry, like Qatar and Kuwait and Bahrain. But still, we are looking into the big chunks like the Emirates. Over here, you can see this is how the number of deals that have been created in terms of startup funding. And you can see these are big numbers, right? What kind of industries? On the right, you will see over here the value of investment by sector. And I'm gonna clarify this kind of sectors. And if you are specialized in such kind of sectors, you'll find your opportunity through. As you can see, the fintech is the star of actually the investment over here. As well, the food tech, also the e-commerce in general as a marketplace, this kind of Amazon models, and the e-tech, which I believe is going to take a major potential among the upcoming era. When we say fintech, I'm sorry guys, but it has run, sorry. I'm gonna actually close the mouse. I'm gonna use the manual part. Sorry for the inconvenience. Going back to the value of investment in the MENA, you can see these sectors. So when we say e-commerce, what does this actually drive us through? When e-commerce is 87 deals with 254 millions in investment, $254 million in investment, this drags away different solutions like last mile delivery startups. Okay, this kind of last mile delivery, there is a lack. There is actually a good opportunity, especially over here in Egypt. So this is not an indicator for the e-commerce only. It's an indicator for all supporting services that serve this industry. Okay, so please, if you're going to receive this presentation, make sure that these figures or these industries would be your driver when you're actually doing the research. I will have just one question, Zami, in terms of questions coming in the chat.
We'll talk about it in a little bit. I think that you can just keep going, and then we're going to I'm going to voice all the questions.
All right. By topic or at the end of the Q&As?
I think at the end of the Q&A, like the questions related to specific topic you're at are going to be, I'm going to read them at the moment, but if they're not related to specifically to the slide, I'm going to read them later.
Sure, thank you. So let's have the focus on the countries. Why we are looking into these countries and which countries among the region should be considered. All right. So we have the three main countries, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And by the way, if you can recall the last slide where we showed the number of deals and also the amount of investment, those are the three sharks that have took place in terms of investment and in terms of number of deals. Let's look into every one of them based on those criteria. If we spoke about the culture in general differs from a country like the Emirates and Egypt, and definitely for Saudi. For example, culture, the United Arab Emirates is full with expats. Probably the expats actually are more than the locals over there. So the main indication or the main impression when you see over there, they are English speakers, or are actually using English in terms of communications, versus Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, even the expats coming to Saudi, it is preferred to have this kind of Arabic understanding. And even if they are fluent, but in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they have this kind of preference of using Arabic. I'll give you an example. Okay, I was actually sending a proposal to one of the family's investment offices over there, and it was in English, same as regular, same as every proposal I've done in my life. But they refused the proposal. You need to change it into Arabic so we can proceed and accept looking into it. In the Emirates, nothing like that. It will never happen. Okay, even the locals who are the decision makers, we need to understand that the locals in the GCC are placed in decision making positions. Okay, this is an important part that you need to know. So going back to the topic of comparing the preference between a country like United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. So in Saudi, if they prefer to speak in Arabic, so it's a must. We don't have other option. It's like a showstopper. But in the Emirates, you're not going to face something like that. But let's look into the tricky part, comparing also United Arab Emirates and Saudi. And through these comparisons, you're going to understand about the market. Which one is the best fit for you? It goes without saying that Saudi Arabia, number of population, purchasing power, the massive mega projects they are actually investing in based on 2030 vision, which is digitizing the whole country and the whole governmental services, right? And expanding in each and every aspect of the business. We can see now the biggest names of football players or soccer players are all found in the Saudi, the Saudi Champions League, or the Saudi league, football league. Based on this, it gives an indicator that the sports section is lucrative for them. As a startup or as a company looking forward to operate in the region, you come as a part of these kind of investments. You look into those drivers and you position yourself to find the best fit for you, or the best segment for you. So this about the culture and, for example, the language references, right? Coming to Egypt, Egypt is, if actually you're dealing with a customer from Egypt, so I believe if there is this kind of communication or initial good impression about your product or solution, then probably you'll be dealing with a good communicator or a fluent English communicator. So you're not going to face problems with that. No, it's not mandatory to speak in Arabic or understand Arabic or present in Arabic. No need for that, or even promote in Arabic.
So there is a question regarding the language. Will it be the same Arabic for Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Egypt, or are the dialects very different?
You mean in terms of accent difference, or in
Accent.
actually Arabic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got your question. So Arabic in general, there is a standard Arabic that each and every Arabic speaker in the world could understand, right? But there is the local accent. For example, if a Moroccan is speaking with a guy from Yemen, at the first time, they will not understand each other. It's Arabic. It's the same Arabic, but it's totally, totally different. And it's because I can understand this and I can understand that. So it was like a funny conversation when you see both of them are speaking. They do not understand. So it's like, what you're saying? This is the accent. But when we translate this into business, when you're going to use Arabic language in your ads, in your promotions, in your campaigns, marketing in general, if there is a requirement, it's going to be through the proposals, through the tenders. So you need a specialist, right? So you're not going to face issues in terms of different accents because you're going to use the general Arabic that is understood among the whole countries. Sorry. So I hope actually this clarifies this point.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good, thanks. The sales cycle average time. This is very very interesting. Sometimes it's a little bit frustrating. Why I'm saying it's frustrating, and I'm not saying this so I can actually push negativity, no, guys. But let's be practical. Let's understand how the market works. The whole transformation among this region in terms of business has taken place lately. Organizing the sectors, actually restructuring the markets is just recent. For example, the United Arab Emirates is like 44 years old. It didn't exist 50 years back. It didn't exist. So all of this is new. And when we say, or when we speak about maturity of people who is actually running these countries, on the highest level, it's very well, okay? But when it comes to regular positions, regular jobs, people with a specific amount of education, those are the people that you are going to deal with. For example, HR manager, finance manager, IT specialist. So those are the regular jobs or the regular positions that you as a vendor could face or could deal with on a daily basis or on a deal basis. So they don't have this kind of great maturity. We need to understand this. This is not because of you, not because of something wrong among your solution or your product, but at the same time, they have this kind of like comfortability. For example, I know some guys or some startups who can make deals in 1 week if they are dealing with a European company. Same solution, same brand, same everything with a company in Saudi Arabia could take like 3 months because a lot of factors. For example, seasonality. As I mentioned, GCC countries in specific face seasonality because they are full with expats. You can find their annual leaves take place in July and August because those are the hottest times among the whole year. It's like 48, 47. Sometimes it reach 50. You're not going to face, it's not an issue. Everything is air conditioned, but I mean that people prefer to travel somewhere else, all right? And they utilize their annual leaves among those periods. So if you are starting a deal in June, do not expect to close it in July. You need to put in consideration it may take place in September. And on top of that, in September, you need to recap what you have mentioned. So if you offer the demo, you may offer the demo again, all right? Same situation in the rest of the GCC, like the Emirates, like Oman and Bahrain, and so on. So this is the average cycle, or what happens in a sales deal. For another season as well is Ramadan. Ramadan, where you know that people are fasting, and you know the majority living in the GCC region are Muslims. So we are fasting. Working hours are less. Then deals as well could be slower. If it's not critical and required by the customer and it is mandatory to go on a specific date, okay, then they will feel comfortable, or sales cycle could be stretched. What are the options that make crucial or make the customer is keen to close the deal as soon as possible? For example, Saudi Arabia applied the e-invoice, and companies must register through Zatka, okay, the authority responsible for taxation, and there is a deadline, 1st of Jan. Then no option. Otherwise, they are going to pay penalty. So they need you, they need your product, or you need your solution, and it has to be applied. So this also is a tricky part, and it is a tip you need to know, that you need to be following up on government initiatives, like the e-invoicing, for example. Anyone is providing integration with Zatka made a good business among the last period. So following up, or knowing, or reading usually frequently about the government initiatives, understanding exactly how it will drive other businesses, or how it will commercially drive business, this would create a lot of opportunities. What also need to be considered when you are going to any of those markets, or when you are coming to MENA region, the power of your competitors. And believe me, this should be your first step when you are exploring, you know, even if you are actually exploring for fun. You need to know, how does your business perform in this region? The first part, or the first point you need to select, or you need to look on, or specifically research, are your competitors, people who are providing same solution as yours. This will give you an indication what of your product fits the market and what not. Do you have to change your interface? Do you have to translate your solution? What is the performance of the competitors? Does it really worth it to invest in the region or not? How many of your competitors have entered and exited out of the market? This also an indicator, because as I mentioned, in terms of technological maturity, United Arab Emirates is speeding up than Saudi. We can say it is ranked higher in Saudi, but Saudi is investing so much, right? So the opportunities are found in Saudi, not in the Emirates. The Emirates, we can say it's somehow saturated, or it reaches, or is reaching the saturation part. So even if United Arab Emirates is technologically mature than Saudi, this drives that our business, or we are going to make business in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So this is about your first step through your competitors. You need to be fully focused on their performance, their general performance, how they are doing their marketing, how they are operating, who accessed, who actually exited, and so on. As well, this will give you an indicator about the next point, which is the market saturation and the demand, how your product would be helpful over there, and for which sectors. Is it governmental sectors? Is it the private sector, and so on? The same situation applies for those three markets, who are actually the largest among the region, in terms of the sales cycle, in terms of the power of competitors and researching your competitors, and the saturation and demand versus supply. So please allow me to go to the next slide. So let's get into the most interesting part for all of us. We all are actually operating for business and for actually making profits. So this is how you are going to make your first deal in MENA. 4 easy steps. They may look easy, but they require a lot of focus and handsome amount of effort. Why I'm saying it requires focus? Because when you look at the first sight of looking at those 4 steps, you can say this is regular steps, but believe me, if you have put focus into applying them on the right way, you have guaranteed having your first deal. So definitely you need to locate a specific country where you are going to sell your product or solution. The MENA, as I mentioned, a lot of countries, different populations, different economic situations, different political situations. So you need to have focus on one specific country. And then you start selling to others, right? After you prove your success in one specific country, then you start transferring to other markets. Because as long as you have already operated and have your own success story in one country, this could drive other deals in the region. As long as you have made at least one deal, then the rest comes thoroughly. Okay. And please do not confuse between having or incorporating your company in a country and selling. Selling is, or go to market is different than having a legal structure, having a commercial registration. Okay. This is just split those. Those are 2 different aspects. Going back to the points or the 4 points that how you are going to generate your or to have your first client. After locating the country, you need to actually do the proper research on, as I mentioned before, looking into your competitors or who sell the same product. Based on this, you will build your own knowledge about, am I going to take this decision? Am I going to invest being present in this country or not? You may have the chance to sell in 2 markets. You may have the chance to sell in the whole region, but also it depends on your product. Who will determine this? The presence of your competitors. So you start generating leads, and believe me, guys, definitely it goes back to you, to every solution, but as we are most of us in the tech industry, so we focus more into LinkedIn. We need to reach a decision maker who understand technology very well and who will be helping in creating a deal and offering this kind of like back-to-back communications and accepting our proposal. So when we look into the lead generation, the best tool is LinkedIn for sure. Nothing comes in comparison with it. And after that, yes, you need to exist on the rest of the social media. Email marketing is not, it is helpful, but it is helpful in other industries rather than in technology in terms of conversion. This is what I mean. But going back to generating those leads, LinkedIn is the best tool. You will reach a specific decision maker. If they have this kind of interest, then no problem. You will face this kind of like acceptance. You will face a lot of refusal, definitely, but this is not the end of the world. You have the option, and this is regular, by the way, to ask for referrals, because it's same as everywhere in the world. It's communities. So IT managers somehow know each other. Finance and CFOs, C-suite executives in general have this kind of communities. So they speak with each other, and they know each other. It has happened with me personally. different times that I ask for a referral, and from an IT manager, he gives me the number of another IT manager in a different company, and start taking this kind of communication. And the best tool, even more than LinkedIn, the word of mouth over there. Okay. And let me take a specific example. You will find all my approaches about Saudi, because Saudi actually, guys, is the high purchasing power, a lot of population, different companies, demand is very high for technology. So I'm gonna give the examples for the biggest shark, so you can actually go make your first deal on in the best market. So I was speaking about the word of mouth and the effect of word of mouth, especially in Saudi. Those are families. In Saudi, you'll find this kind of Al-Anzi family, and those are Arabic names, but I hope you understand those Arabic names. But it's like an Al-Anzi family, Dar'a family, Al-Fawzan. These are all families. Saudi consists of families. Okay, even if they are not in the same city or in the same region, but still, you are from this family. Two names with the same last name, they are relatives. Okay, so they have this kind of like family gathering. It's part of the culture. They have this kind of like majlis for family. Majlis is like the gathering, right? So they have this kind of like weekly gatherings and so on. I personally have been referred through those majlis between two cousins. So I'm speaking from actually a try and error part. So I have actually, when one refers a consultant, a technical consultant, or whatever solution or something like that, to a relative, to a cousin, they take it like for granted. He will not lie to me, because we are family sitting in the family gathering. So it is like unconsciously accepted. And those are the most successful deals over there. How we can do that? We are not going to sit in those majlis unless you are invited. But if you are actually on a good relation with these with Saudis, with locals over there, if you have offered a good service and a good solution to any of them, and you ask for referrals, and if they were asked, do you know a company that provides X or Y or Z? Then yes, and they mentioned your name or your company. Believe me, it's a closed deal before even conducting a phone call.
Tom, can I ask you a question? There is a question in the chat which relates to the current topic. And how can you use the word of mouth if you are new on the market and no one knows you? That's the first one. And the second one, when you talked about the pilot, should it be a free pilot or a paid one?
Very good. Those are two relevant points, very relevant to each other. The word of mouth, you need to have this kind of success, at least even in projects outside of Saudi. Okay, so once you start speaking about or giving a demo without zero clients, okay, in GCC, zero clients, you go and with your success story that you have applied out of the kingdom, then if they get convenienced and they feel that this demo have clarified each and every aspect, even if they are not going to buy and they are not going to be your customer, you could be referred. Okay, it's as simple as that. Because even if they didn't try the solution, but they got convenience emotionally and from a business perspective as well, that this solution is a good solution, and you have demonstrated this in your actually demos, then you are going to be referred, but you're going to be referred in a transparent way. I have seen this solution and I guess it's good. I didn't buy it, but here's the contact. You can reach Islam. You can reach Evgeny, you can reach Zami as well. Okay, so based on this, it's like a shortcut to closing the deals. Offering pilot is helpful that you have success story not out of the kingdom. You have success stories inside the kingdom, inside the region in general. Okay, and as I mentioned before, if you are actually offering, if you had a success story in any of the Arab states, then you can actually take it to the other state. Pilots should be paid or free. I'm with the school that pilots should be paid, but it's a case by case. If it's my first deal, if it's a good customer, if it's going to help me, if it's going to act as a big name when I mention this, the logo of the client among my portfolio, among my website, and so on. So yes, for sure, I'm gonna be offering a free pilot. Okay. It's a rule of thumb that freebies could position yourself or could position your product or your brand in a level that, or in a segment that you don't wanna, or you don't wanna actually act on, or it will not be helpful in terms of pricing, right? So the clear answer for pilots, it's a case by case. You need to calculate or look into the return on investment, because actually you are investing on giving a free pilot. This is an investment, as if you are actually doing marketing, right? But you're actually spending the marketing budget in the best place, which is a success story.
Excuse me, there was like the next question regarding the pilot. If it shouldn't be, if it paid, then it should be like legally binded. So how much approximately will it take, for example, in Saudi Arabia, open an entity for an expat?
We'll get into this part for an entity and for all of this, and because I need to clarify this in comparison with the go-to-market model, so you do not get confused. Okay, I'm gonna clarify. I'm gonna answer this question very clearly. Okay, but it will be coming in the next slide, in the upcoming slide. I'll just close this part, which is the deploy. Deploying is actually doing this kind of propaganda. As long as you are going to have offering a freebie or a free pilot, then you'll ask your client or you ask your customer, please mention us on social media. We need to take some pictures when we are actually with the handshaking, when we're actually signing the contract. We meet the team. After we have a successful pilot, we have actually a group gathering or two teams gathering, and we take pictures. We put it on our archive or on our website, on our social media. We make this kind of propaganda. We put it on our portfolio and on our company profile. We have made this solution for this big name or landmark in the Emirates, for Saudi Aramco in Saudi Arabia, for STC. So this will add more credibility when customers are searching for you, when they are actually doing this kind of due diligence about you, and if your solution is legit and existing. Imagine I'm sourcing a solution, and their social media, the last time they posted, it was like 2 years back. It could be an active company and they are working and they're making good revenues, but this will make me uncomfortable. I will have this kind of like a big question mark. Why? It will demarket the your brand. Okay, so that's why I mentioned that in terms of deploying this success or this pilot projects, you need to utilize it to the most. All right, so let's move to the next slide that is going to answer the question that has been placed at the moment. So here we can see the go-to-market models. What do we mean by the go-to-market models? How we are going to operate? We have three clear models. Either you depend on yourself, or either you go through partnership, or you relocate. So let's take them bucket by bucket. The first bucket, which is self-dependency. Yes, it's very low cost. You're not going to do anything. You're actually search online for companies. You pick the phone, call them, send them an email, and wait. And keep waiting for such kind of trials. So we can say that it's yes, a low cost, which is very good for small companies, but at the same time, it's not efficient. It's not time efficient. And results are not guaranteed over there. And by the way, it may give a wrong impression because a number that is not familiar on my mobile device, you know, I'm not gonna feel trusted. No, forget about it. I'm not gonna pick this up, right? This is what this is actually how the wrong impression could come. On the other hand, we have a different model, and this model is the partnership, which is, from my point of view, gives you as a company or a startup the shortcut to look into the market. The partnership models are different, and it's like hiring a sales representative in the region. It's like a R&D at the same time, because through your partner, you will collect data, you will collect information, you will understand, does this culture accept my solution? What is the feedback? So let's compare. Instead of searching, you will find support and help with searching. Who are my exact competitors? I'm not going to do the research myself. No, I'm gonna have a hand and eye over there that is going to act and look as well for opportunities. So we can say, if it is compared with relocation, which we are going to discuss after this model, it is very cost efficient based on the partnership model. And it gives you a quick understanding of the market, specific opportunities, and it will solve show-stopping problems. For example, as long as you're working with a partner, a local partner, for example, Arabic language. If you need to submit a proposal for a government body or for an authority, government authority, and you need to do it in Arabic, how we are going to manage it? Then you will have this solution, or you will have, sorry, this problem solved through this model. What you need to take care of, the inactivity, because sometimes you can deal with partners and it turns back that the partnership model is not working and it is not, and it is an inactive relation, then you will be wasting time. So how we can solve this? It has different solutions, because it could be like either the partnership model is built on commission basis, retainer basis, so different incentives could actually solve such problem. And also there is another con, which is inaccessibility to different markets, which means that you deal with a partner and the relationship is good, the business relationship is very well, and they are performing well, but in just one market. It case by case, it could be helpful, or it could be an advantage, or it could be a disadvantage. If you are actually focusing for one market, for example, Oman or Bahrain, and you have a partner who work only in Bahrain or Oman, then it's fine. It's not an issue for you. But if you'd like to expand among the whole region, and this partner works only in one country, then it may be a disadvantage for your business.
Also the question, shall this partner be paid or like percent based? And also, guys, if you have any questions related to what partnership model works better for you, you can sign up for a free consultation with Islam and you can discuss your specific case with him.
Yeah, this is actually what was going to be offered. Exactly. Thanks, Zem. It should be paid. As I mentioned, models are different. Yes, it is paid in some deals or in some actually partnership models. And it could be also on a commission basis. What I have witnessed among the partnership models, what is built on commission basis is for the implementation partnership. So if I'm a technology provider, I'm looking for partnership with you, I'm going to sell or distribute your solution in the region. Then among each and every deal that I'm going to implement for your solution, I'm going to take a specific commission from you, and I'm going to charge implementation fees to the client. This is the regular model that we know. But if the deal is about the business development, is about the sales and distributing or the market access partnership, then retainer agreements or retainer partnership would be more beneficial. This is for the partnership model. So this is the second model in terms of go-to-market. We have the third bucket, which is relocation. And please, guys, do not confuse between relocating and incorporating. Relocating definitely requires that you have a legal structure in the market. But over here, we are speaking from a go-to-market perspective, which means that you transfer all your team, the whole org structure is moving to another country. So you can operate and start selling and you start knocking doors and doing or placing face-to-face meetings, right? This is the meaning of relocation from a go-to-market point of view. You start having your company, your office, the entrance, the branding, the brochures, everything, including the legal structure, your assets, everything have been transferred to another country. So is it a good model, or there is actually, it depends on the size of the company. This is the main factor that determines if this model is workable or not. It has its own advantages and disadvantages. Definitely the advantages is that you're going to engage with the culture. You will understand how the people deal. You will know places. You will see brands. You will have a high accessibility to business communities, to startups and entrepreneurship ecosystem, opportunity for funding, opportunity for selling shares, opportunity for financing as well, and definitely the quality of life or changing to a different culture area, and you're going based on that, you can have a different lifestyle, which could be lovely for some of us. Another point, which is the adaptation to market, and it is almost the same that what I have clarified. And you'll be legally present because sometimes, for example, government deals, okay, they will request Saudi company, or they will request a local company, or at least a GCC company. Okay, so this is a limitation. It's a showstopper. When you're having your legal structure, then these showstoppers are gone. There is a solution, by the way. If you are, for example, if you are working on the partnership or the self-dependent model, and you need to, you'll be invoiced, but invoice has to be issued from inside the country. It has to be a local invoice. Through the partnership model, it's easy. It could be invoiced through your partner and they pay you. For the self-dependency, you can actually incorporate only. You can have this kind of virtual companies. You can have this kind of, not even virtual, you can incorporate the full style or the full structure of incorporation, but you didn't operate there. That's why I told you, do not confuse between relocating and between incorporating, okay? I hope this point is clear and there is no confusion. So I will make sure to ask you, if you have any questions, please ask me in this bucket specifically. Please, Zami, if there are any questions raised. Okay, I believe there is no questions.
There are no questions related to the specific
Okay.
slide.
Sure,
They're
sure.
people asking if, you know, the local partner is better than, sorry, there was a question.
Pardon me, question for you.
Sure.
So, say we're not a startup and we are a well-established company with the good sales, and we have the jurisdiction in Dubai, and we're expanding into MENA, into Egypt, into Algeria, and that kind of countries. So, how do we find the person who is in charge of customs? Because we have the physical goods that we need to export, and this requires the customs. Is there any correct ways to get them?
Okay, let's split this into the maturity of the country. For example, in the Emirates, you will find a directory, you will find a simple research.
We're already selling in Emirates, and this amount of the things that we're selling is pretty good. I'm talking about the vapes, the electronic cigarettes. So basically, we have a problem to reaching into Saudi, into Egypt, that requires the customs officer that we need to talk, and we're not sure how to get them correct.
Okay, I was just giving a comparison about my point that it depends on the maturity. In the Emirates, for example, let's take another country other than the Emirates. For Oman, you can find this kind of high maturity level in researching, and you'll find freight forwarders who are going to help in customs, help in shipping and delivery as well. But for a country like Egypt, you have to offer, for example, a visit or ask a friend or or someone among your connections to connect you, because the maturity of business directory is not, it's not there yet. Okay, in Libya, or forget about Libya, it's in Morocco. You need to actually, based on your connections, you need to dig into building connections over there. The first step you can actually go through looking into positions. The easiest way is through LinkedIn. Find people who are actually in freight forwarding, who will guide you through the customs or the process of the customs, and an advisor, specific advisor for the customs. This is
what could be the position of this advisor? Like, should it be like the officer, or what could it be? Like, should it be a minister? Who could it be? I mean, the decision maker.
But a minister for actually dealing or doing a business, this is actually a bit different, or
Too
we
high.
can say, yeah, too high for that. You can start, it's very simple. You just need to import goods or products into a country. So through freight forwarders, and those are commercially found. You can actually, with a very simple research, either, as I told you, the Google research for freight forwarders, but you need to look into these good brands. And
Okay,
this-
let me reach you by the personal account, because I was an expert for free for the Russian chapter as well.
Okay.
So I'll reach you in person and we'll discuss that. Thank you very
My
much
pleasure.
for this production.
My pleasure. But this is a good example, guys, that based on the market maturity, your business would take place. That's why if you are not operating in a country yet and you're looking or strategically researching or spotting one country, as long as it is mature and from a business perspective and technologically mature, then your life is going to be easy. Taking another example, they are operating in the Emirates, and without asking him, I believe his life in the Emirates, or business, I mean, would be way easier than operating in Algeria or Tunisia, for example. Okay, this is because of the technological maturity, access to banking solutions, access to business directory. It's like that. So as a quick recap for the go-to-market models, we have the self-dependency, we have the partnership. We mentioned that the partnership could be split into two parts. We have the relocation, and the relocation as well. We mentioned it could be good for enterprises, and the cons for startups, it could be cost inefficient, and as long as you have this kind of investment and you have invested in building a company in a new market, then you are expecting results quickly. This would be a little bit pushing or a little bit pressing, okay, for your team or for the sales team or the business development team in general. Let me go to the second slide, or the next slide, I mean, that complements or that is relevant to the relocation part. So over here, we have this kind of questions that clarify, is it relevant or not? Is incorporation and banking relevant to this one? It is a requirement if you are going to relocate to another country to have a legal structure. But on the self-dependency model, I can incorporate. Yes, you can do that. On the partnership model, I can incorporate. Yes, you can do that. Sorry, guys. On the relocation model, I need to incorporate. It's a must. There is no option. Okay, so it is optional in the first two models, but it is a must in the third. What are the cases that you could have the partnership? So there is a partner who is actually on the ground selling here and there and active, going, making deals, actually filling the pipeline, generating leads. All of this is going well, and I do incorporate. Why I should do that? It depends. It's a case by case, because as a company, I need to have a different legal structure. Let's move to this slide. It is relevant. I need to have a different legal structure where I can sell globally. So let's take the current situation of sanctions. And if the company is still in Russia, and if they have incorporated in the Emirates. In the Emirates, it's a totally new phase. Okay, has nothing to do with the sanctions, and it could sell to anywhere in the world. It could sell to the States, it could sell to the European countries, sell anywhere, avoiding these sanctions, because it's a totally new structure, and it could sell globally. So I hope I've made this clear in terms of incorporating and in terms of go-to-market models. So as I mentioned in this slide, you could be on the partnership, you could be self-dependent, and you still have your own company in Dubai, and you may have traveled to Dubai just one time for the incorporation and for receiving your Emirates ID. Okay, this could be the case. This is for the sake that you need to sell your product globally, avoiding these sanctions. So are we saying that this slide is a solution for avoiding the sanctions and selling globally? Yes, it is, because you're going to have a new face. And by the way, incorporating in Dubai, for example, or in the Emirates in general, you could have zero structure. You could have zero employees over there. So you're not going to bear the cost of operating from the Emirates. But your Russian company, it will stay the same. It's operating same as it is, with just one customer, which is your United Arab Emirates company, okay, providing service for this. And the Emirati company that belongs to you as well, sell to the whole world. I believe I will get some questions in this part. If not, this means that I have actually clarified this point, which is good. Any questions? Okay, very good. So quickly, I'm gonna go into this part. As I mentioned, it is not discussing go-to-market models. It's the avoiding sanctions part. I'm really sorry, guys. This is something really irritating. Sorry again for this inconvenience. The purpose of establishing a company in MENA is having a new interface, which means having a company, and your Russian company will remain the same, with having one customer is your other company in the Emirates that could sell globally. For whom it could be a good solution? For actually cloud solutions that are sold totally online, the whole registration, no need for implementation, just simple and easy solutions that are cloud-based and could be sold online, paid through credit card, and you get the registration and subscription done. Then it is very helpful, yes. For companies that have their servers in Russia, so this kind of like IP blocking could be avoided. Yes, it's a good solution for them. Okay. And over here in this part, we are mentioning that you will be having one customer, which is your Emirati company. Let's have a glimpse on, or clarity on how long and how much it would take and what are the features that I'm going to have. Apart from the operational or sales features that you are going to have the global access, avoiding the sanctions, we have structural, we have investment features like the cost, because in the Emirates with around 7,000, 8,000 US dollars, you could incorporate your company, including commercial registration, tax registration number, open a bank account, a corporate bank account, have all the paperwork needed done with such a number. It depends on the activity, it depends on the sector, it depends on a lot of things are the factors that affect the cost of the incorporation. Because I have incorporated companies with 26,000 dirhams, and I have incorporated companies with 180,000 dirhams. Okay, we're speaking about like 7,000 US dollars and 60,000 US dollars. Okay, so what was the difference? The different legal structure. Is it a branch? Is it a new company, new limited liability company? The size of the company, the type of investment, if they are going to manufacture or not. Does this activity requires a specific location? and specific permits, because permits over there are actually related to activities and are a must. There is no option. These are the criteria that drive cost of incorporation. Please let me know if you have any questions in these parts.
And there is a question where a person asks if they can register in Emirates remotely. Register a company, I guess.
Registering in the Emirates, yes, could take place remotely. You just need to go for one time. You need to go for one time to receive your Emirates ID. You need to go for the medical check first. And based on this medical check, it's just a regular governmental medical check. Okay. And based on this, you will receive your Emirates ID. And then you're free to go. You don't need to go to the Emirates again. Everything could run through your service provider and through online portals. Renewals, payments, everything could take place online. You don't have to go there.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome. Pleasure.
There are no other questions in the chat, so I think we can go on.
Good. So let's look into an interesting success story. Right now we have Evgeny. I believe he's with us. I will handle the mic to Evgeny so he can actually transfer his experience with us.
Thank you, Islam.
Thanks, Evgeny.
I can speak Russian, as I understand. Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Всем привет. Может быть, с кем-то... Так, ага, выключу у себя звук. Так, собственно, представлюсь. Да, меня зовут Евгений Строкин. Я основатель, руководитель компании Mega Insight. Мы делаем SaaS-решения для ритейла. 3 года активно развиваемся в России. Вот. И где-то с осени прошлого года стали выходить на зарубежные рынки. Вот. Такой небольшой спойлер, да, то есть в целом с Исламом мы работаем с мая, то есть вот уже почти 4 месяца. И сейчас у нас пилотный проект в Египте с компанией, египетской компанией, достаточно крупным брендом в сфере ритейла. Просто расскажу немножечко историю, как мы к этому пришли, то есть что мы делали. В целом глобальную экспансию начали с LinkedIn. Опять же, на аутстаффинг взяли команду, которая занимается вопросами лидогенерации, и для себя определили такими мазками основные направления. То есть в целом это была Латинская Америка, Ближний Восток, немного Европа. Вот. И в целом просто искали в LinkedIn потенциальных лидов для нас, писали им, вот, общались, и основываясь на том, из каких стран, из каких регионов лидогенерация идет активнее всего, то есть где больше всего идет отклика, интереса, где больше всего люди готовы пообщаться онлайн, встретиться, обсудить какие-то детали, на этих рынках и стали, в общем, так, работать активнее. И в целом для себя тут выработали такие направления, как Бразилия и Ближний Восток, в частности, Египет и Саудовская Аравия. В целом, сначала начали делать таким образом, что, вот, допустим, в Египет я поехал сам на конференцию как основатель решения там, в области ритейла и сам стал общаться с потенциальными клиентами. Вот, что в целом, на мой взгляд, было небольшой ошибкой, потому что когда я туда приехал, я увидел, что очень много других европейских компаний приезжают туда далеко не одни, они приезжают с местными тоже представителями. Вот, и это делает их выше относительно меня в глазах местных потенциальных клиентов. Вот, и после этого я в целом задумался о том, чтобы найти локальных партнеров. Вот, собственно, во ФРИИ обратился, потому что на тот момент мы уже начали работать по Бразилии, они в том числе нам помогли найти партнера в Бразилии. Вот, и спустя некоторое время вот познакомились с Исламом и его командой, и начали процесс работы с теми, собственно, фактически начали процесс работы с теми лидами, с которыми я пообщался лично, да, то есть мы теперь имели возможность их перевести на диалог, значит, на диалог уже внутри страны, внутри Египта, да, и мы организовали командировку, я прилетел в Каир, мы лично встретились с Исламом, встретились с его ребятами в Каире и запланировали повторные визиты в офис к этим компаниям, с которыми ранее я встречался один. Вот, и что тут меня поразило с точки зрения как бы совместной работы, и мне было очень от этого приятно, что Ислам, пока вот я формировал, ну, как бы организовал эту командировку, он вместе со своей командой подсуетился, и помимо тех лидов, с которыми уже я был, да, на тот момент, и с которыми мы запланировали командировку, он нашел еще несколько компаний, с которыми мы могли бы были встретиться, прям первый раз пообщаться на месте в Каире. Вот. И надо сказать, что пилот мы подписали не с той компанией, с которой пришел я, да, а с той компанией, которую нашли ребята Ислам и ну, его команда, да, потому что надо заметить, что он работает не один, он работает с командой, это очень хорошо, вот, это дает хороший результат. Ну и в целом получается, что мы прям сходу, практически в холодную, да, зашли в компанию, к менеджеру, значит, навстречу, пообщались. Ребята очень быстро схватывают там суть продукта, который мы делаем, активно тоже участвовали в презентации. Вот, то есть это очень важно. То есть я в принципе, впечатлен тем, что там зачастую был переход и на арабский язык, да, в каких-то сложных моментах, там, тонких, где там, требовалось более глубокое понимание продукта. Вот. И это очень хорошо, потому что к нам совсем другое отношение. То есть мы пришли, нас было 3 человека, да, мы пришли на встречу, нас стали воспринимать как... Да, мы не, я тоже скажу, что мы не инкорпорированы в Египте, мы не открывали там юрлицо. Единственное, что у нас есть юрлицо в Европе, вот, и мы от его имени действуем. Вот, но в целом, значит, нас воспринимали достаточно хорошо. Вот, и после встречи продолжалось общение. И надо сказать, что у нас получилось вот это добиться первого пилота как раз вот в тот самый низкий сезон, про который Ислам рассказывал, да, там, значит, летний, когда многие в отпусках, и мы как раз дошли до пилота, то есть вот в июне у нас был, в начале июня была встреча, и в начале августа мы подписали договор. Вот. Это пилот, он условно бесплатный. Почему условно бесплатный? Потому что он ограничен временем. Он ограничен временем и объемом работ, который мы делаем. Мы пошли на этот бесплатный пилот, потому что это очень крупный бренд, это крупное имя, которое присутствует на рынке Египта и Катара. Вот. И у них достаточно, ну, это крупная компания, и в целом пока мы будем просто делать там пилот с одним из их магазинов в Каире. Вот, и, значит, это, на наш взгляд, это даст нам хороший толчок к дальнейшему развитию в регионе. Вот, единственное, что мы ограничили время использования нашего решения, да, ограничили сроки, в рамках которых клиент должен предоставить нам материалы для выполнения этого пилота. То есть мы торгуем временем в данном случае, да. Вот, это тоже ресурс, тоже важный ресурс, и в целом я думаю, что вот это может дать хорошие плоды. Вот, если коротко, то примерно такая история. Если какие-то вопросы более детальные есть, тоже готов ответить. Там, кажется, в чате был вопрос.
Есть вопрос в чате, а как вы внутри управляли поиском партнеров сами или пришлось создавать отдел, нанимать человека?
Я сам управлял этим вопросом. Я, в принципе, занимаюсь сейчас, российский бизнес больше такой сейчас, там нанимаю людей для такой автоматизации всех процессов корпоративных в России. Сам больше занимаюсь именно глобальным бизнесом и, собственно, нахожу партнеров на местах, вот, непосредственно для выхода на Ближний Восток. И также команда работает в Бразилии. Единственное, что в Бразилии мы там открыли все-таки юрлицо, вот, чтобы работать с местными компаниями. В этом плане с Ближним Востоком работать проще, потому что Ближний Восток достаточно активно готов взаимодействовать, подписывать контракты с зарубежными компаниями, да, с зарубежными юрлицами. То есть не обязательно прямо сходу идти открывать компанию в Эмиратах или в Саудовской Аравии или еще что-то такое, если вы хотите выходить, на мой взгляд, на этот рынок. Достаточно иметь и в России компанию, или там зарегистрировать лицо где-то там в Грузии или в Армении, или еще. Ну, то есть в целом вариантов много. Вот, исходя из общения, из вот коммуникации с представителями бизнеса за последние 4-5 месяцев активно, да, я хочу сказать, что люди в Египте, в Саудовской Аравии очень очень активны, да, они очень там рады выйти на контакт, встретиться, пообщаться, да, будьте готовы, что нужно будет иногда приехать лично, потому что, ну, особенность этой культуры предполагает личные встречи, и я в целом чаще всего выступаю за то, чтобы по возможности встретиться лично. Если не мне, то как минимум, чтобы вот Ислам либо его коллеги приехали в офис к потенциальным клиентам, повидались с ними, там, попили кофе. То есть это особенность рынка, которую надо учитывать. Вот, поэтому, но именно поиском и коммуникацией занимаюсь лично и сам взаимодействую с Исламом и его командой. Вопрос там еще был. Как вы оцениваете объемную активность рынка, например, в вашей сфере онлайн-ритейла? Мне сложно оценить с российским ритейлом. Ну, вероятно, развитие российского ритейла с точки зрения страны, как бы, оно, там, если сравнивать с Египтом, конечно, больше. Вот. Но если мы говорим про зарубежный рынок, то для нас, как для российских компаний, рынок Саудовской Аравии и Египта и других стран Ближнего Востока, он более открытый и больше возможностей на него выходить, нежели чем пытаться сейчас сделать это на европейском рынке по понятным причинам. Вот. Что с точки зрения его объема надо оценивать, надо понимать, мы говорим про какой ритейл, да, вообще в целом, то есть это какой тип ритейла, то есть он тоже разный бывает. Вот. Мы, например, ну вот у нас пилот это фэшн ритейл, то есть магазин одежды. А так в целом я считаю, что в частности Саудовская Аравия очень интересный регион в том плане, что он, как вот тоже Ислам говорил, он не перегружен большим объемом трафика компаний, которые мигрируют менее конкурентные, на мой взгляд. Почему-то все вот, когда говорят про Ближний Восток, все сразу говорят про Эмираты, Дубай, и как будто больше стран нету, где можно прекрасно развиваться.
Спасибо, Евгений. Islam, I think we can get back to our agenda today.
Cool. Yeah, sure. Thanks, Evgeny.
Спасибо всем. Thank you, Islam. Thank you, guys.
So I will go to the next slide, which clarify how we can help in general. So through IIDF, we have 4 sectors. The first sector is pure consulting. If you're looking for establishing or articulating your strategy and your strategic direction for your company, if you're looking for the market access and business development in the region, this is another service that could be offered through the first business line in consulting. Also in technology, there are some sort of support in terms of implementing. If you're a startup, then you're looking for a system that help in accounting, helping in inventory management. So we can help with that. We can help you in implementing that. If you're offering a solution that is HR solution. And as a company, you need to manage your finances, then we can help with that. If you're looking to incorporate your company in the region, either Saudi Arabia, either the Emirates, also we can help with that. Also the RCBI, the residency and citizenship by investment. This is also what we can cover. There is a third business line we can help with, which is the WAS, which stands for Web Development as a Service. I have heard some huge numbers paid for websites that, from my humble point of view, doesn't worth this amount. We can help with that with affordable prices in Arabic and in English, and if you'd like to have it in French as well. So this is actually web development as a service, marketing as a service. If you'd like to promote your work, if you'd like to do some sort of blogging in Arabic, Arabic articles, Arabic posting on social media, not only Arabic or any other language. So we can help you with that. So it could be said it's a digital marketing management or social media management as well. Any kind of software development, if you'd like to have your own team. Software development and outsourcing and recruitment are actually, we can say it's a bundled service, or we can say it's recruitment. If you'd like to hire a technical team in the region, we can help you with that. Only recruitment. We help you, we filter, we sort, we do the initial examination, technical examination, and then the first interview. After that, you can go for the interview to recruit, the last interview, or outsourcing. We can have the resource sitting in our office, and you just pay for the expenses for that resource, and through actually invoicing, we pay salary for this technical resource or resource in general. For example, I would like to have a marketing specialist that is dedicated only for me. Fine, this is an outsourcing service. Or I need to hire SAP consultant, okay? Only hiring. I don't want to have this. He's going to work on freelance basis, or he's going to work remotely and directly reporting to me. Then this is a recruitment service. The last business line, the last business line is the portfolio management. For some companies or for some startups who have actually raised fund or who have made surplus among their cash flow, they can invest through our specialized corporate program, which is OSN, OPEX Safety Net. And through this investment, they can yield a return on investment between 45 to 55% per annum, paid on a monthly basis. The purpose of this is to support startups and companies to cover their OPEX, operating expense. By all means, you are going to pay for rent, you're going to pay for salaries and such kind of operating expense. So why not paying a principal amount that is going to return back to you as a principal, and have a return on this investment, like a monthly interest that covers these salaries, and you get your principal, you pay from the ROI to your operating expenses, and any revenues coming, your bottom line, your net profit is going to definitely enhance. These are our services. Please reach to any of IIDF team to ask for more about this or to request more information about these services. Our promo for the attendees and for who actually stayed for us till the end, you're actually subject to a free consultation with me directly if you'd like to ask about any of those services. If you'd like to understand about the market, any of those services are covered. You can actually ask for a free consultation based on these services. And there is also a specific discount for attendees who will request any of those services that we have mentioned in this slide. Please feel free to mention that you were the webinar attendee, and any of the IIDF team will validate your attendance, and based on this, you are going to have this discount. Now, Any questions? I'm here for you.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, Islam. My name is Muhammad.
Hi, Muhammad.
How are you? Fine.
I'm good. Alhamdulillah.
I have two questions basically.
Sure.
The first one regarding market saturation. The fact, because right now I am in business development too,
Good.
and we are into high tech. We went to the MENA region a couple of times, and we are still going right now. I said that we are going to the North Star exhibition in October in UAE.
Okay.
The fact what we are seeing until now in the 12 or 20 years of technology in UAE, for example, it's always led by West technology at some point. When we are talking about international market, we are talking about geopolitically for a reason or another. That's normal. So now we go as a new technology for the MENA region. Let me say it clearly, for us as Arabs, we know that most of our countries were usually led by technology, Western technology.
Western technology, yes,
Except
exactly.
maybe Egypt and a couple of countries due to geopolitical relations. So with the lack of historical knowledge of the Russian technology, what we are facing is mostly, I wouldn't say not acceptance, but lack of trust in the technology by itself. And this is a very hard thing to breach because this needs time, this needs to be able to be in the market for a long term to be able. And now we're talking high tech. The second question is about the infrastructure regarding we know at the end I have here in Russia, I live in Russia and you're maybe Russia, I don't know, but basically what we are doing as a business, we need the money at the end to be in Russia. We need to pay salaries in Russia, we need to operate in Russia. So wherever we do the business in Dubai or in Saudi Arabia, we have the problem at the end regarding sanctions and everything else to end up the money because we need the money here and we need to transfer the money to UAE. Now we have UAE and Saudi Arabia as part of later on the BRICS, and hopefully there's going to be an infrastructure. But this, it's going to take time. And how do you think, how much time it's going to take until we'll be able to enter a market such a way with a high tech if we don't have the infrastructure and we don't have we have a lack of knowledge about the technology, the Russian technology, or the trust.
The trust, yes, yeah. Actually, this is a very good point. The lack of trust and probably some reputation about confidentiality and so on. Let's say I'm gonna give you my impression. I'm pretty sure how solid would be the high tech industry in Russia, and I can give it a trust. But believe me, it's the same trust or the same solid foundation in terms of technology, in terms of architecture, in terms of everything, same as the West, right?
Yeah,
same as
yeah.
the American.
For us,
but,
for me, for you, we know it.
Yeah, but this is. I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell you the exact answer because you have actually pushed a very important point. This is how they position themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a little bit pushy on the new interface. Guys, get rid of this point. You are starting totally new interface from the Emirates, for example, from actually incorporating a new company. Sell globally. I'm totally new. Change your layout, change your website only in English or English and Arabic. So that's why you are going to avoid this part because it's just deep positioning. Despite it, at some actually solutions, I see Russian solutions way better and way sophisticated than the American one. Okay.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's why we agree because we already experienced this through our life in MENA region and through our experience with Russian technology. The point that sometimes the integration even to be integrated in the technology like for example you have I don't know what like cameras or something and you need to integrate it in the new technology that exists already in the UAE. You have this problem.
Yes.
between having either a full solution or to go and integrate one part or one specific solution out of everything. So this is a very huge barrier that right now we are talking about. Now, right now we face. So if you have any, like, it's good to talk about it. It's good, like, maybe later on to have a specific or like a private talk later on about this
Definitely.
barrier, exactly how to breach it, because this is a big, huge like problem for later on.
It's a very good topic. Definitely, I would have the pleasure to have a further discussion on that. But a quick question: cloud solutions now are going to unify this kind of architecture. Definitely, the type of integration is going to be unified, and either you come from a Russian tech industry or Russian tech background or an American tech background as a solution, I mean, then moving to the whole era of cloud, it's a must to go in a unified way. Okay, so this is the fast answer. But for the sake of the time, actually, I need to have this answer as just a quick answer. But definitely, I would really look into such kind of discussion on a further time, for sure. It'd be my pleasure.
Sure. I will contact you on LinkedIn maybe so we can discuss.
Ahmed, you can use the link where you can sign up for a consultation with Islam, so we can do the same.
Sure.
There is a question about the E2E marketplace. We built the E2E marketplace at home repair in Russia, and we think about MENA. Is it possible to assemble furniture for clients in Saudi by persons without a legal entity? And the follow-up question was, maybe you know how to Uber-like companies work in Saudi?
The first question, how they can, I'll recap to make sure that I understood it. How can I sell without having a legal entity in the region?
How can it be possible to assemble furniture for clients in Saudi by persons without a legal entity?
Okay. If the size of the company, or let's be clear about it. Small size companies are not going to look into vendors out of the region, okay? But medium size and enterprises, they can pay invoices coming from outside of the region. But definitely, you know, if they are going to pay through Swift, Swift is on hold in Russia, so it has to go through a different company or a different banking route. This could be solved through a partner who could invoice and who could facilitate, because you need to make your customer life easy in terms of everything, in terms of implementing, in terms of paying, all of this. So you wouldn't be a burden for your customer. So yes, the answer is yes, you can sell, but not for the medium size and the enterprises without having a legal structure. Or if you are going to have a government deal, it's a must. Okay, at least in the GCC, for example, selling to Saudi, but with an Emirati company, or the vice versa for sure. Selling to Oman with an Emirati company, selling to Qatar with a Bahraini company. It's like that. Okay, but with the Russian commercial registration or the Russian license, no problem. But when they pay you, when they are going to pay you, they will have an issue. Okay, so for sure they know that. So from the beginning, either they will ask you to provide an easy to use bank details or a bank that is not subject to sanctions, or they will refuse the deal. Okay. What was the second question, please?
And they asking, is it a peer-to-peer market in Saudi? I mean, a market where a lot of handymen work for clients directly.
A peer-to-peer market. Or just one time. Let me read the question again.
Basically, the person is asking whether assembling furniture is a more of a peer-to-peer market rather than enterprise to enterprise.
Look, it's not, no, it doesn't go that way. It's not an enterprise to enterprise. Look, the market is, especially in, I'll go back again to Saudi, where the high purchasing power, but the market is restructuring. Opportunities are not limited to selling an enterprise. You have to go with an enterprise. No, it doesn't go that way. You could be a startup, but your solution is very effective to an enterprise. So yes, you will get the deal done. Okay, and you can build on this every other model. It's a medium size, and it could sell to an enterprise. It's just a new startup, and it could create a deal with a government authority. So no limitations.
Thank you, Islam. Guys, if you have any other questions, we can take a few more. If not, I think we can wrap up for today. You can raise your hand and then we can give you the mic. I don't think there are any people just saying thank you. I guess we can wrap it up for today. And if there are any questions, people can sign up for a consultation with you and discuss them in private.
Definitely. I'm very glad actually to have this webinar. A lot of good questions, and believe me, the region over here have a lot of opportunities. Let's make the best use of it. IIDF, I thank IIDF actually for the opportunity to offering such solutions with all of these services offered to facilitate for companies and for startups to go to the region. I'm here to help. Please reach me at any time. Just go to the link, register, and you can reach me directly through the team of IIDF. They will manage this. Thank you for coming to this webinar. Looking forward for different webinars. Thanks again.
Спасибо всем, что пришли на вебинар, что были с нами. И еще раз напомню, что вы можете записаться на бесплатную консультацию с Исламом по ссылке, которая есть в чате. Всем спасибо.